I'm Ginny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. I'm here with Lori Pieper to talk about her article in the May June issue of On Purpose Woman magazine. Hey, Lori, thanks for being with me today.
Hey, Jenny, good to be here. Always a pleasure.
Well, your article is called Don't Be Fooled This Allergy Season, and I'm really excited to talk to you about this. But before we start there, tell our viewers a bit about you.
So I'm an author, inner joy coach, and founder of Journey to Inner Joy. I like to say that I combine the woo-woo of the ancient sages' wisdom with the wisdom of modern physics, so people understand that it's real. It's real. It works. You should try it.
Great.
Not you,
Thank
but
you.
you, everybody.
Everybody, right, right. Now, as I mentioned, your article is called Don't Be Fooled This Allergy Season. And you write this article from the perspective of your personal experience. And you also put a disclaimer in, which I'm going to share, that this information is what worked for you, and that it's always a good idea to consult your primary care physician before you're making any significant health changes. So if you're
Yes.
not sure about anything, don't listen to Lori, just go see your doctor first. Right?
Exactly.
But I love the article because I've been plagued by allergies off and on over the years. And I shared some of your early kind of experiences as well. But you write that 20 years ago, you were tested for allergies and discovered you were quite allergic.
Yes.
What were some of your symptoms?
So the one that freaked me out, I took my niece, my young niece, she was probably 10 at the time, to Kings Island, which is a big, roller coaster park. And she and I got on the roller coaster. And it was one where you start here, you go up and around, and you end here, and then you go back again. I realized once we were up on the first side, I had passed out. I love roller coasters. I never pass out on roller coasters. I don't think I've ever passed out on anything. I freaked out, but there's nothing I could do. We went back around it and I was fine, but I realized I couldn't breathe. And it was my allergies. No matter how much I blew my nose or whatever, I just couldn't breathe. And a good friend of mine was a nurse, still is a nurse. And I mentioned it to her and she's like, Lori, you got to see your allergist because it's allergies. So,
And so you went, you got tested, those little pinpricks they put in.
yes,
I
all
did
up and
that
down the
many years
arms.
ago myself. And I remember they used to do, this was in the 80s, the early 80s. They did one for the left arm for indoor and the right arm was outdoor things. And I remember I went because I thought I was just clogged up with all this stuff in the air. And it wasn't, it was all indoor stuff because my indoor arm blew up and my right arm just looked like nothing had ever been stuck in it. But that's
Oh, wow.
I'll say more about that later if I feel like I need to. But yeah, so you're diagnosed with lots of allergies,
Yes,
and then
both
you're
arms.
given,
Yeah.
yeah, and then you're given some relief options. What were some of those options you were given?
Yes. So a decongestant, an antihistamine, and then also an inhaler because I had what's called allergy-induced asthma. And that's why I couldn't breathe because my sinuses were clear, but my lungs were I just wasn't getting enough oxygen. So yeah.
And did it work?
It did for a while. And then after a couple years, I needed more. And then I was getting allergy shots, one in each arm. I think it was once a month. Did that for several years. And then I was still, I was using the inhaler too often. So they gave me another inhaler. So I didn't have to use my inhaler as often. But it caused me to not be able to taste my food. And I was
It's a big
like,
deal.
yeah, this is stupid. Not like, I mean, there's a reason you have taste buds. It keeps you healthy and keeps you safe from eating like poisons and stuff. So, accidentally. So anyway, yeah, who wants to live without being able to taste their food?
Yeah. And I was when I went, I was also told to take allergy shots, and I went every week for a certain period of time, I guess to build up the immunity. And then I just stopped. I thought I've had enough of this, but I already had some asthma. It wasn't induced by but it was made much worse. So I was also on an inhaler, and it got to the point where when I would use it, I would feel high. I would feel jittery. I think there's like steroids in there, something that just made my skin crawl, and I would be like this for an hour at least. And so I eventually weaned myself off of it. But yeah, sometimes you know, the solution is not always even sometimes it's worse than the issue, right? Because I felt worse from
Exactly.
that, from using that. Of course, feeling your chest cramp up and tighten up and think you're going to die, that's pretty bad. So I did appreciate the inhaler when I felt like it saved me a couple of times. But yeah,
Exactly.
but the whole point of this though is that you tried some new things, and that's the whole point of your article and us talking today is that yeah, those things work and they're great and they might be great for you and they might be, you know, for whoever's watching. But if you want to try something different and maybe not be so dependent on pharmaceuticals, because people may not
Yeah.
think about, you know, that inhaler is a drug. It's not just a stuff, they're not just blowing air in your mouth, you know, it's a drug.
Right.
And
Right.
so you started to do some research. You are a researcher, aren't you?
Yes.
But I remember also you had another experience, I think, that you wrote about in a feat of driving through like farm country. I think that's when you made
Yes.
your decision that you were going to do something different, right?
Yes, it was interesting because I like doing research on, especially on natural health and natural healing. And I was seeing signs for, get rid of your allergies using acupuncture. And I'm like, I should try. But anyway, one day I was driving from for work to a client site. It's a 2-hour drive through farm country. It was October, and they were all tilling the soil. I shouldn't say tilling the soil, but cutting down the corn crops.
Hmm.
And so it was just, you could see it. It was, dust was everywhere, and so I got congested. My allergy kicked, or my asthma kicked in. So I used my inhaler. It didn't work.
Hmm.
I couldn't breathe. So I pulled over to do it. I pulled over a second time, and I still couldn't breathe. And then I think I hit it one too many times, because then I got shaky and I couldn't breathe. Nothing was working. Nothing that I had in my in the car was working. So I drove myself to the first emergency room I could find, and that's when I swore, never again. I'm not doing this again. It's it helped me for a short period of time. I shouldn't say short, for several years, but it was just too much. It just got to
Yeah,
be too much.
too
Yeah.
frightening. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you made that vow that this wouldn't happen again, what was your next step? What did you do next or start doing?
I called, so when I got home, because I had to drive myself home, I was about an hour and a half away from home. So once I got out of the emergency room and drove home, I called and left a message on my allergist. Me- uh, yeah, left a message for my allergist saying, I'm done. You can either help me. I want to be weaned off these. I'm going to try natural remedies, and I'm asking you to work with me. And he did. And God love him, because I really was expecting him to say no, but he was great. He worked with me. And so the thing I did actually the next day was I looked up acupuncturists in my area and found a lovely woman. And so I had acupuncture once a week for a month, and then once every 2 weeks for a month, and then once a month, or for like 2 or 3 months. So it took a while, but after that, I was pharmaceutical free.
You didn't have to keep doing the acupuncture even.
No acupuncture. Haven't done, well, it's been, 15 years at least, I'm sure. But I also knew an herbalist, and he also had really bad debilitating allergies. And he taught me about stinging nettles, to help your body come into homeostasis, because with allergies, you're getting out of that natural balance. So stinging nettles, passion flower it's really for stress induced asthma, which I think is more what I had than the allergy induced asthma.
Hmm.
And eye bright for those itchy eyes that you get. And that's what I still use today.
And you're still doing well with those things. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So your experience has been great using the natural remedies. And
Mhm.
thank you for sharing some of your preferred treatments. What would you, well, I want to go back to something else you said first. I want people to just make sure they hear what you said. A lot of people think that they can't go back to their medical doctor with anything,
Right.
if they want to change anything, if they want to take charge of their care or suggest something maybe more natural. And you're proof that you can do that. You lose nothing by asking.
Exactly, exactly. And I've been going to him for years, so I knew him, he knew me,
Mhm.
I knew his whole staff. And I'm pretty sure I had mentioned it in the past, but he didn't really say anything, like wanting to learn more about it. And when I just said, look, this is something I feel I need to do, um, I want your help. I want you to guide me because I don't, the worst thing you could do is to stop all the meds and and hope that it's not going to have any horrible impact because everybody's different.
Right.
And the combination of weaving in the acupuncture with weaning myself off of the drugs, that went a long way for me making a very smooth transition.
That's a great point. Because the acupuncture actually helps clean that stuff out of your system faster, doesn't it?
Yeah, it helps. You know, acupuncture is all about getting your energy to move again.
Mhm.
And, you know, I had a stressful job. I loved it, but, you know, it was very stressful. And when we're stressed, we're tightening all of our energy centers and we're stressed, you know, all day. Well, those energy centers just stay clogged.
Mhm.
And so she knew, you know, where the energy was really clogged and where it needed to move. And then the body truly heals itself.
If we give it the opportunity, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, let's see. You mentioned a couple of things that you've used. Well, the acupuncture was a big deal, it sounds like. And then you think the other things have just been kind of a maintenance sort of thing. Do you use anything on a regular basis, or do you wait till you have symptoms, or what do you do there?
It's recommended, so I know I have seasonal allergies. And it is recommended that so things like stinging nettles, which are for seasonal allergies, that you would start that regimen 2 to 4 weeks prior to allergy season.
Mhm.
I don't. So I'm kind of bad about that, but I know that when I need it, I can use it. And then I actually, before we met, I had to step out because I was having a hard time breathing. So I have this Olbus oil. I don't know if you
It's
can
called
see that. Olbus oil. Got it here on there.
OLBUS?
Yeah, Olbas.
AS.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, I just put a little under my nose and it clears my sinuses. So it's a quick, it's kind of like what the inhaler is supposed to do, where it's
Mhm.
supposed to allow you to breathe quickly. This isn't for, you know, clearing the lungs necessarily, but definitely clearing the sinuses.
Mhm.
So,
And
yeah.
stinging nettle was a supplement. Is that considered a supplement of some sort, or how does it come in pill form or capsule form?
It does come in pill form, but it was recommended to me to use the tincture. So I get it from Herb Farm, and it's a liquid, and you just squeeze a little tube of it. You know, it's got the little. I don't know if you've used liquid stevia or anything like that, but
Mhm.
you know how you got
Oh,
the little
yeah, yeah.
tube. Yeah, yeah. So it's just you just squeeze some of that in there, and so I make a little concoction of that eyebright and the passion flower,
Mm. And
and
then,
have that in the morning. And
okay,
yeah.
okay, that's good to know. Because I think you can make tea out of stinging nettle as well. I believe I read that. Yeah.
Yes, I do have a stinging nettles tea, and it does come in pill form as well, but it's more concentrated and more bioavailable in the tincture form.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think these things work? And you touched on it a little bit, but in your article go to a little bit more detail, and I don't want to tell everything that's in your article because I want people to go read it. But why do you think these things are so effective?
Well, there are a lot of reasons. You know, one thing I didn't mention is, you know, one of the reasons why we are so why allergies, all kinds of allergies are so prevalent these days is because we're so stressed. and we're putting a lot of toxins into our body. The air is, depending on where you live, can be very toxic. So all these toxins are in your body. So when when an allergen, another toxin per se, enters your body reacts and attacks itself. And tries to keep that toxin out. So for one, I also, in doing that, I also cleaned up my, a lot of my poor eating habits. You know, being on the road a lot, it's French fries and Diet Coke for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, you know, I did pay more attention to my health and try to eat healthier. So, but they're natural. I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for, but you know, these are natural healers. So they blend well with your body. You're not going to have side effects from them. So I can't really overdose on stinging nettles or eyebright or anything like that. I've had absolutely no side effects. They're easy to take. And does that answer your question?
It does. It does. I just
Okay.
wanted to go into a little bit more detail about, the whole toxin idea, because I think
Okay.
we can lose sight of this idea sometimes that, when our nose starts running and we start coughing, that's our body trying to get rid of this stuff,
Yes.
and we do sometimes take things that just relieve the symptoms, but they don't get rid of the stuff. And it sounds like what you're using is probably moving the stuff through your body and getting it out,
Yes, it's
rather than just
helping.
suppressing the symptoms.
Exactly.
Is that
It's
correct there?
keeping, go ahead.
No, I just said it. Does that sound like a correct thing? Am I saying something right here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's allowing your body to come back into homeostasis and it actually does get rid of some toxins as well. So these stinging nettles, it sounds terrible, right? Stinging nettles, but bitters, anything that's bitter does help to remove toxins out of your body. So yeah, and just if we just watch our diets a little bit, I don't know if anybody's ever, out there ever, had one too many wines or beers and woken up the next morning and you're congested. That's a good example of those toxins getting, just getting too much in your body and you feel terrible the next morning, you can't breathe. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You also mentioned in your article that in those early days when you were taking all these things, that you were really grateful that you had good health insurance, because it was costly as
Yes.
well, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. Those allergy shots, yes. And I couldn't really even tell you how much they were because my insurance covered it. But you figure, two different prescriptions monthly plus the allergy shots. And yeah, it was up. I'm sure it was up
Yeah.
there.
And these natural products don't cost nearly that much.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Something called stinging nettle can't be over the top expensive, can it? It
no.
sounds so basic.
It's really, yeah, it's not, and you don't have to use that much of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a big 4 ounces doesn't sound like a lot, but it lasts me 2 to 3 months.
You're just using a little drop or two at a time, right?
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
yeah, putting a dropper full. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for all this information. And when I read your article, of course, I read it and proofed it first, and then I read it again when it came out in the magazine. But I haven't taken any action, and I plan to, because I don't really take anything. Every once in a while, if I get really I'll just pop an allergy pill at the last minute, and
Mhm.
but I don't want to do
Mhm.
that. I'd rather try some of the things that you're talking about. So that's another reason I was
Yeah.
happy to talk with you today, to
Yeah.
reinforce this idea for myself, because I also get some stuff in the fall. It's not just spring stuff.
Mhm.
And it is
Yeah.
indoor stuff still a lot. It's like I can smell mold from across the street.
Oh, yes.
I
Oh,
can
yeah.
feel it
Mold
in
was a
my
big one.
chest, and
Mhm.
so I do believe I've got some outdoor stuff, because it's just too weird if I don't. But the indoor
Yeah.
stuff is still, the dust mites and all that is still fairly prevalent. So
Yeah, and if I can just, it is better to be consistent with the stinging nettles and the
mhm.
eyebright and all. I don't use the eyebright all the time, only if I've got the itchy eyes, but stinging nettles is kind of an overall bringing your body back into balance. So it's good to take that on a more regular basis, especially if you're starting it for the first time.
Okay, and let it build up in your system a bit. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Before we wrap up here, would you tell our viewers a little bit about you again, where they can find out information about you and your work? Because this isn't part of your work. However, the research and the helping people with some, I mean, you do support people with being healthier. That's part of your joy work, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I just can't help myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm the founder of Journey to Inner Joy. And I called my business Journey to Inner Joy because there's so many ways, so many choices, easy choices that we can make in our lives to add more joy to our lives. And it ranges from just managing your allergies with more natural methods so you don't have side effects of pharmaceuticals. It can be about, Ayurveda helps us to eat and exercise based upon our unique constitution, whereas pharmaceuticals are, here, try this, it'll work, but you may or may not have all these life-threatening side effects. So I am a coach. I teach the Deepak Chopra Primordial Sound Meditation. If you out there want to meditate and you think you can't, please contact me. Go to journeytoinnerjoy.com or Lori@journeytoinnerjoy.com, because that was me. And let me tell you, a regular meditation practice will change your life. Sorry, I'm rambling on.
It's okay. No, you're doing great. And because also you mentioned that so many allergies are stress related. So the meditation can actually be almost preventative, to keep you from having a greater reaction to allergies. So meditation is just good
Yes.
all around. Just
Yes.
with so many things.
Yes.
And Lori's contact information, her website, and also other ways you can reach her are in the text of this video. And you do offer, I think, like a free chat with people if they want to find out more.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's on my website under contacts. Well, it's a long URL, which I think
Yes,
I gave
it'll
you the
all be
wrong
in
URL.
there.
Yeah, yeah. And also, if you're interested in Ayurveda, I'm starting to give a free Ayurvedic assessment. And again, this is to figure out your unique constitution so you can better manage your health with choices that are right for you, not choices that worked for your sister, brother, best friend, blah, blah, blah. It works for your specific constitution.
Is that information on your website as well? Or
There is there, oh gosh, I don't think I added it to my website. But do the free 30-minute chat with me and I'll get you set up.
where they can also email you if they just want to find out more about that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'm thinking Ayurveda is going to be my next series of articles if Jenny will allow it.
Of course, I would love that. I know enough to know that I don't know much, it's not like I haven't heard of it, but I just know enough to know, wow, there's so much more for me to know. So I would love to read more about that, Lori.
Yeah.
Please leave us with a final thought. It may be something that you've already said or just something that just comes to you, but that you'd like to leave us with about your topic.
Don't be afraid to ask questions of your physicians. If they say no, if you want them to help you wean off of meds and they are pushing back, ask them why they're pushing back. Ask questions. If you feel in your heart that what the physician is doing is not working for you, ask questions, learn more. It doesn't, I think we tend to put physicians on pedestals, and they're smart and they're wonderful. And I love my primary care physician. She is a doll. But she listens to me. And, physicians should be listening. And so anyway, that's my biggest thing, because I may not have had to have gone through what I went through if I had known more about natural ways of healing and talked about it to my allergist prior.
And it's become so much more mainstream now. So it's so much easier, I think, to find doctors who are willing or actually partnering often with people
Yes.
who are using more natural remedies. So I think the bottom line is most healthcare people just want us to be well,
Yeah.
and just find that person that supports you and helps you with that wellness. Thank you, Lori, for sharing your super, super, super helpful info. I really appreciate you and the work that you do.
Well, thank you, Ginny. Thank you for having me. I always love our conversations.
I do too. I do too. And I want to thank anyone who's watching this either live or on our YouTube channel. If you want to know more information about the On Purpose Women Global Community and magazine, you can go to my website, opwgc.com. And that link is also in the text of this video. And if you're watching this on Facebook, be sure to check out our YouTube channel where you can find all kinds of chats like this with on purpose women who are living their best lives and sharing their unique gifts with their community. Thanks again for watching.